Why is it worth maintaining cold-bloodedness until the end? What do games with pets lead to? What does a day look like when you get out of bed on the wrong side? Watch in this episode the most incredible moments captured on camera a second before. If you ask me, it's always seemed to me that sailors can be in danger only when they hoist sail to the seas and oceans. However, judging by this video, you can get into trouble even in an ordinary channel connecting Canadian lakes. After all, it's exactly where two rather big ships crashed into each other. Fortunately, they moved at a low speed. That's why they were not damaged. However, I'm sure that those on board at that moment got extremely nervous. It's not so simple to explore the Arctic. The explorers of these snowy regions are supposed to research icebergs. These are natural objects you don't know what to expect from. In this story, for example, the iceberg suddenly turned over, nearly sending to glory the two scientists that tried to capture it. Fortunately for people, luck was on their side, and both explorers managed to escape injuries. Here's the one that had misfortune at a definite moment. This is a poor guy from the next video. Though there was nothing that directly threatened his life, it's his purse that considerably suffered after this incident. The clip began more than quietly. The customers were going around the shop with all of them doing their business, when suddenly the main character got interested in the TV standing by the entrance. If you've paid attention to this, everything the toughest and most interesting is usually placed near the entrance. These are the things that shop assistants want to attract each customer. So our poor guy overrated his strength a little bit and knocked over the TV, including another one that fell according to the domino principle. However, that was not all. Out of fear, the clumsy customer sprang from his seat and hit two more TV sets with his back. Truth be told, the way the technical devices were located was awful. Who came up with the idea to place TV sets like that? As shop workers later said, all the four devices were damaged and the customer had to buy them out. He spent $7,000 for all that. Yes, really, it's not always the case that everything happens the way you think of. In this story, for example, a man jumped into the water a little bit later, but the slippery surface affected the situation. He fell down ahead of time, fortunately without any injuries. Such an ordinary fall is a Sunday school picnic. Such dramatic events happen that it's simply impossible to believe it without a video. Look here, a man was doing a habitual job. He moved the yacht into the garage, when suddenly, right by the end of the way, an unpleasant surprise awaited him. One of the fasteners failed, and the yacht went forward out of control. The man jumped to his feet and rushed after. As soon as he left the driver's seat, he understood that he'd forgotten to put the handbrake on his loader. As a result, the yacht flew in one direction and the loader in another. The first one hit against the wall, the second one against the vehicle standing closely. It's double unluck. I don't even know what's more offensive, to become one of the characters of the previous story with a complete lack of luck, or to sit on the sofa and observe your cat stupidly losing balance and falling right on the TV set you've bought recently. Interestingly, the animal was not guilty. It was just bored and decided to touch the chandeliers. Who could have known that it would have lost its balance? For this matter, does it not seem to you that the TV set was also strangely placed there? By the very location of technical devices, it seemed to be doomed to fall. Though, on the other hand, maybe it's not about the location of the TV set. Meanwhile, I looked at all that. These cats have problems with their vestibular organs. They can sit on the fence, take a look at the sky, and get so obsessed with this that they'll forget about the balance and fall down. It's lucky that they're very agile and always land timely on their four legs. I'm ready to argue that everybody had a similar story at least once in their life. You wait for the delivery to come, but the courier did not arrive in time. The person seemed to get lost, mixed up the houses, or inserted the wrong letter while entering the address in the navigator. However, as time passed, the order was delivered, but with a big delay. So do not be in a hurry to accuse the courier in this scenario. After all, they want to deliver your order as soon as possible. It's what their salary directly depends on. For this, they even invent detailed schemes. Truth be told, they do not always work, but this is another story. And here's what worked in another way, completely different from what had been expected. This is a slide for children the adults worked on for the whole morning. They got up early, attentively studied the plan, analyzed details, and brought them together. Everything seemed to be ready. The slide at the same time, their proudness. It was time to test it. Except that the men, for all seasons, did not take into account one small but very important moment. The capacity of the slide was not designed designed for adults. However tough you may build it, it's not likely that an adult person can use it. Here's what happened. A man who risked sliding it destroyed half the slide and, together with his mate, was sentenced to more hours of hard work. All those driving a car are acquainted with this feeling. You have just got up, climbed behind the wheel. However, you don't completely feel the dimensions. It's important to do something sharp, something that will activate all necessary sensors of your body. For example, to increase your speed or to put on the brake all of a sudden. Everybody has his own habits. However, I ask you not to repeat the mistakes of this underspeeder. He decided that it's high time to drift in the morning, and this is what it led to. And here's the one who's already wide awake, rocking out on the floor. It's a guy from the next video who decided to surprise with his performance all the girls on board. You know, he managed to surprise them, truth be told, not the way he had expected to. While performing his stunt with climbing the handrail, the guy's feet slipped and he fell into water. Fortunately, there were no obstacles downstairs and the fall was smooth, despite the fact that he hurt his back a little bit. Anyway, the stuntman did not suffer, and next time he would perform his program more accurately. So now we have in line a master class for pizza preparation, the food popular among many people. As long as you rolled out the dough, put tomato sauce on it, decorated everything with small sausages, cheese, and tomatoes, the only thing left is to put the pizza into the oven. This is the final touch that you should do showy. For example, this way. Leave a like if you've already thought that it's impossible to goof up at this stage. On the other hand, there's nothing impossible in this life. Our four-legged friends seem to be incredibly fast, jumpy, and agile creatures that are capable of everything except for jumping into the car of their host. Don't worry, the dog did not hurt itself. As its host and the video author says, it does so specially, showing its smartness. It's interesting if the character on the next video also showed its intelligence, or just didn't think such things could happen. He and his friends danced to the music and performed different stunts. Next in line was a complicated jump. Everything would have gone ideally if it had not been for one but. The floor did not turn out to be strong enough, and the stuntman fell through and found himself at the neighbor's flat. Just imagine, people are sitting at the table listening to classical music when suddenly some dancer appears out of nowhere. How would you react to this? For sure, I would have run. Right like the man from this video. In other words, in its first part. To be more precise, from its first part. He saw the wife fall down as she went out of the house. He was not lavish for emotions. He was about to invent a name for a new video. However, this is where his karma worked out. The prankster tumbled down and made his wife laugh. So I'll warn you right up front, things happening in this video can shock you. At least when I saw this for the first time, I was really surprised. The clip starts calmly with people standing and holding some roof, seemingly because of a heavy wind. However, nothing can happen, can it not? Really? At some point, the wind grew so strong that the roof was about to soar and nearly take people along. Fortunately for them, no one suffered on that day, though they were close to this. Interestingly, what actually was that, and where did this happen? If someone of you knows, write in the comments. If people in the previous video were about to take off, then a duck from this clip managed to fly, interestingly, without wishing to do so. Not realizing that, the bird made itself comfortable right in the place of a fountain. The automatic watering system may have worked, or something of this kind, whereas the water flow went out with all its might and made the duck soar. The poor bird surely got extremely frightened, but everything was in order. It landed and did not show itself there anymore. Do you know such an entertainment when people make a birthday celebrator happy with a cake? I can tell you now, if you did not ever experience this, it's not painful at all. It's just sweet, mild, and strange. In general, this is very fun and exciting. So caring parents plan to surprise their son with this who turned 14 years old. Truth be told, they lacked something. The stunt was not precise enough. Instead of pushing his head into the cake, they made too much of an effort and the boy hit his head against the table. Judging by the sound, the guy was not pleased. On the other hand, he'll remember this surprise for all his life. If you thought that it's very easy and simple to organize an orchestra, forget this. After all, that's a plain delusion. In fact, it's extremely difficult to create an orchestra that will perform flawlessly. Here's one of the reasons. During a repetition, one of the drummers gave his all to such an extent that overreacted and could not hold the instrument. As a result, a huge drumstick hit a girl, landing closely, and she left the scene. I hope that she wasn't hurt and no drummer had any phobia against this background. Do you remember your parents saying that you should play only outdoors, especially if you want to run, jump, hide, and so on? I used to think that those were just vexations and unreasonable discontent among adults. However, I understand why they were saying so. A man was sitting on his sofa and watching TV when suddenly his friend with a dog appeared in his room. They came from the street with their emotions running high. Wishing to come up with the man, the dog jumped over the sofa and slightly overrated his strength. As a result, he fell right on the glass table and tore it into pieces. Fortunately, the animal escaped unharmed. Here's what I would not call safe and sound. This is the man's psychic from the next clip. He participated in the cycling race, and it turned out that he came out victorious. It was just needed to leave behind a couple of feet and be happy about the gold. However, it was not in his power to win without any laps. He decided to show off in front of the public and perform a couple of final stunts, except that he lost his balance and toppled over right before reaching the finish line. You're mistaken if you think that's all. At the same moment, a second cyclist appeared behind him, and noticing his competitor lying on the ground, he gained speed. As a result, the one who had been awarded with a silver medal came first, whereas it's our stuntman who got the silver one. What do you think? Was it some karma or just an unfortunate occurrence? Write in the comments. Things that happened in the next video are obviously not a coincidence. The cat climbed a bar stand and started to play with what he saw. The TV remote control was first on his list. It fell down almost at once. A glass was next in turn. Wait, the hostess of the pet summoned him to stop. Or no? Something hints to me that the cat made it specially to let her know that if she had started playing with him, it's not the glass, but something more valuable that would have been damaged. I was shocked by what happened in the next clip. A host played with his dog and threw a stuffed toy at it. Truth be told, he tossed the toy to the place where you could not see it. Judging by everything, the dog forgot what it was running for while going upstairs. That's why it threw a completely different object to the host. What's interesting, if I'm the only one who cannot guess how such a small dog could elevate such a big lamp, what sort of magic is it? If you have a pet at home and you want some of your relatives not to spend too much time in front of the computer, show your four-legged creature this video. I'm sure that any, even the smallest cat, will be pleased to sharpen its teeth against a smooth surface of the laptop. Now remember a prank you can repeat with any person you don't like. He'll remember that for all his life. Whereas you won't be accused of anything. Here's the deal. You wait until the one lets his guard down and focuses on his own smartphone. Then you approach from the back and knock against the glass. Your frightened victim can lose balance and even leave hold of his smartphone. And if the person sits on the balcony, something similar will come out of it. And the toughest thing is that you're out of the loop. Who knew that the man would react this way, right? That's about it. Write in the comments what moment surprised you most of all. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.